Hello and welcome back everyone into this course in module 3 where we're going to start talking about Arduino. Now we have already understood a lot of basics for this robotics course and now we are finally getting into electronics and hardware as well. So the first of all, the most important topic for us is going to be Arduino. We're going to understand Arduino thoroughly. We're going to understand what all controllers are also being used and what all elements of Arduino are there as well. After this thing, we have in the fourth module, we're going to talk about how you can start simulating Arduino in Tinkercad, which is an online free tool which allows you to simulate Arduino and make your projects over there. I hope you are excited, and without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so we are in our PPT and we're going to understand Arduino, of course. And let's start by understanding different elements of Arduino. So Arduino is an open source microcontroller platform that is used in robotics and other electronic applications. So it's a microcontroller, by the way. It's not a microprocessor. There is a difference between both of them. A microcontroller has everything inside the chip and which allows the controller to be one single package that can handle everything. With microprocessors, it's different. You have different RAM, you have different storage, you have all the elements which are outside the package, making it a much more open system. But for us, which Arduino is going to be a microcontroller, okay? The elements of Arduino refer to the physical components that make up the Arduino platform. Now, a lot of people get confused over here. Arduino is both an hardware and also software as well, okay? So for us, we need to understand both and we need to work on both. In the future videos, I'm going to be showing you how an Arduino looks, and of course in the software. So in case you want to buy a real Arduino, you can do that as well. There's absolutely a lot of resources available for Arduino, which makes it very open. That's why it's also known as an open source platform, which means anyone can work on it, anyone can build it on its own, and anyone can, have the firmware files and everything like that for the Arduino. Okay. Now, types of elements of Arduino. Let's see how many, what all types of Arduino are there. There are several types of elements which make up Arduino platform, including the microcontroller or the main chip which is there. Okay, the microcontroller is the heart of the Arduino platform and it is responsible for controlling the behavior of the robot. Okay, the microcontroller is essentially more or less the core part of the controller. Okay, this is where every sort of processing happens and this is where all the programs are going to be stored as well. Okay, so very important. Then we have the microcontroller used. So we're now specifying what controller is being used. We use an 80MeGA328P, which is basically the version number of the Arduino. I'll also tell you what all other components are there, and we'll go into the actual physical look of Arduino after we finish this PPT. Then we have the input I/O pins, output pins, which are the I/O pins as well. Okay, these are used to communicate with external devices and sensors. Now, you need to understand Arduino is a board which allows you to connect multiple sensors and make multiple conclusion and multiple projects. Okay, but the whole idea is there should be a way of how Arduino can communicate with the outside world, and that happens with the input-output port. Okay, if you don't have the input-output port, then of course it's impossible for anyone to control Arduino, and that's why these are important. Then you have the specification of these things. The Arduino Uno, for example, has 14 digital I/O ports, 6 analog I/O ports. Okay, we'll also see these as well afterwards. Don't worry. Power supply. So Arduino can be powered either by a USB cable or an external power supply. Okay, let's say you have a laptop and you want to power your Arduino using your laptop. Then you can use a USB power supply. But in case you don't want to keep your laptop all the time and connect to the Arduino, then you can use an external power. Now, a lot of people ask me the same thing, if we can use a battery. Of course, external power means battery, okay? You can also use a power plug, which can go into the plug point, but batteries are obviously very compatible. The voltage requirement for the Arduino varies depending on specific model. Of course, there can be a 5-volt model, there can be a 3.3-volt model, there can be even a 9-volt model as well, depending on which Arduino you are using. You have then USB connector. The USB connector on the Arduino is used to connect the Arduino to the computer, allowing the user to program and control the robot. Now, there should be, of course, a way to program the controller. Otherwise, how would you write your program inside Arduino? So that happens via the USB cable. You use a regular USB cable connected to the Arduino, and you're all good to go. Understanding the elements of Arduino is important in robotics because it enables the user to design and build effective robotic system using Arduino platform. Now, you need to understand that in Arduino, you have both hardware and software, okay, which means you are essentially like working on building the hardware components, meaning that you are going to connect them, and in software, you are going to program it. By understanding the capabilities and limitation of different elements of Arduino, the users can make informed decision about how to design and build their robotic system. Of course, now in this case, what happens is that you are responsible for designing your own robots. So you need to decide which all elements are going to go and which all elements are not going to go. We're going to talk about this in very much detail in couple of next modules, of course. But this is essentially like giving you an idea of what exactly happens behind the scenes. Some of the examples of elements of Arduino in robotics include a microcontroller. We already talked about it. Okay, I/O pins. Again, we talked about it. Power supply. We talked about it. Connector. And we talked about it. So now this is like more of conclusion lines. Okay. In conclusion, the elements of Arduino are essential for designing and building effective robotic system, controllers and everything. Now I'm going to show you an Arduino, which is going to make you understand. So yeah, I have dedicated box of components with me. Very helpful. Let's see what do we have. This one is an Arduino with a GSM module. I think this one is with a GPS, I think. Yeah, or a BLE. Yeah, this one is with a BLE. BLE basically means Bluetooth Low Energy. So if you see on the back, you can focus on the camera. You see it says Arduino Nano 3.3 BLE. Okay, BLE means Bluetooth Low Energy. And if you remember what we talked about, we're going to have a USB port. You can see there's a USB port in the front. I think it'll just focus. Yeah, a USB port, lots of pins on the side. Okay, these all pins are the ones which are used for connecting. And then you have, the extra ports and extra features. For this one, it's Bluetooth Low Energy, so it has a Bluetooth module. Let me take out more of them. This one is similar to Arduino, but this one is like a micro Raspberry Pi. This is also very popular and very similar, but this is known as Raspberry Pi Pico or R Pi Pico. Yeah, now it's focused. Okay, yeah. If you see, this one is a Raspberry Pi Pico, very helpful as well. And then what do we have? We have more driver boards. Yeah, these are power driver boards. Okay, these are used for adding more fine line capabilities to Arduino. Okay, yeah, I think it's good. And this one I think is a I2C bus module. Okay, which means you can connect more and more motors with this thing. I have a couple of more of these, which is like this one. This is an automation hat, which allows you to control, like light switches using Arduino. Very helpful. And I have all these bunch of extra stuff as well. So yeah, this is like a Type-C connector. Okay, so if you know what is a Type-C, okay, the one that you use to charge your phones, you can use this to charge your or to charge the battery of your Arduino. Okay, very helpful as well. Then we have a couple of displays. Okay, displays are very important. I love displays. So this one is an OLED display, like a very small OLED display. You can use it to display text or anything you want. But yeah, and now that we have seen Arduino Nano, I don't have a full-size Arduino. I would actually show you the full-size Arduino as well. I can show you the full-size Arduino on my laptop. Personally, I mean, I don't really use it that much, but we are going to use it for our course, of course, which is going to be there. Let me just... And another thing is, like, when we talk about Arduino, we talk about Arduino Uno for beginners, okay? So Arduino Uno is like the starting component that everyone uses. Now I can share my screen and I think all of you can see it. Yeah. As you can see, we have Arduino Uno here, and this one is like the standard edition. And this one was the one which I was talking about. You can see over here we have all the digital pins which are there. Okay, so you have 14 pins because since you're counting from 0, so 0 to 13. Then you have the analog pins which we have 6. Okay, so 0 to 5 again. And then we have the power pins, and this is the power supply section. Okay, so you can power it either from USB or you can power it from the drum jack. You must have seen this drum jack in your Wi-Fi router and other places as well. And yeah, there are a couple of electronics to make sure that, if there's extra power, then, it doesn't really get burnt out. Very important, of course. And yeah, this whole setup essentially allows you to, build a very good and very robust system. There are, of course, a lot of robotic kits which revolve around this as well. But yeah, this is like the main bread and butter that we're going to work on for this course. Now, I hope you got an idea for this thing. I would highly recommend, if you want to get an order of one of these, you can actually go to amazon.in for India and just write Arduino. Arduino. Okay, Arduino Uno R3. And you can buy any of it actually. I mean, I think these are getting pretty expensive these days, but I remember they were like pretty cheap. You can get a kit like this, or maybe like something else. But I think if you want to invest, I don't really want you to burn your money if you don't want to. But don't buy these expensive ones. You can just start with this one as well. This is like the, what do you call, the clone of this thing. These are like original ones, but these are like clone. They work exactly the same. Not really a lot of difference. I mean, might be a little bit of difference in the performance because the quality of these things are really good, and this is like a little compromise, but not that much of a difference. Okay, so I hope you understood what we are going to work on with Arduinos, and I hope you're excited for this Module 4, Module 3, and I'll see you all in the next one. Till then, happy learning and peace.